Staten. He is our complex criminal defense attorney. I will save the long bio, but he's just the lawyer of the year for everywhere. He's on the bar for the DUI Lawyer Association, the California Public Defenders Association, the Sacramento County Bar Association, the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Indigent Defense Panel, the Rainbow Chamber of Commerce, the Wiley Manual Bar Association, just to name a few. And he specializes in Know Your Right seminars, which is how I met him, and he's just been a great mentor to have as well. So let's welcome Keith Staten.
All right, you got 15. You're going to have to keep me on time. All right, thank you all for allowing me to come here. I love to talk. That's why I'm a litigator. I do trials. I do criminal jury trials. I've probably done, I count now, probably 170 or so. But, you know, out of those, there has to be 50, 60 that are serious and violent murders and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to think that I pretty much have done everything necessary as a criminal defense lawyer. But I know there's so much more. So I have other careers and things, and people here know that because I've taught them. All right. Criminal justice reform. So glad we're on that topic, because I'm going to tell you, first of all, why in the hell am I talking about that? Right? That's the first thing. Why? When you worry about criminal justice reform, well, we got to worry about that because of legislation that has increased incarceration. All right, what the hell are you talking about, Keith? Well, here's what I'm talking about. The Fed courts have said we got too many damn people in jail, right? Too many. So how do we get them out of there? But first, how did they get there? Well, here's what we did. We passed laws like 3 strikes. Nobody realized what 3 strikes really would be until we started litigating 3 strikes. Then it was 10-20 life. Oh, I love that one. Then direct files, meaning juveniles being filed directly into adult court. Then mandatory minimums came out. So you have about 5 grams of crack cocaine. I go federal on you, you're going to get a mandatory minimum of 10 years. Then gang enhancements. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not like I'm up here saying pro-crime and all that kind of stuff. But because of that legislation and because of what I believe to be the 13th Amendment still allowing us to profit pretty much off of individuals who are incarcerated, because what we see today are now prisons and jails being profitable ideals, which means that local counties want to put people in jail so that people make money. It all started with the Shawshank Redemption, didn't it? And it showed us that there was a lot of money to be made by keeping people incarcerated. So we did it. The 80s and 90s, Reagan, all the way to Clinton, we signed any bill we could because just like he said, all I got to say is, you're going to die on the streets if I don't put these bills out here. So with all of that, it really meant we starting to remove discretion regarding sentencing from judges. And judges, and I'll tell you something, you know what's a sad-ass thing? I cuss. You know what's a sad-ass thing? And the sad thing was in the very beginning of 3 strikes litigation, we were watching things like bicycles and pizzas being stolen and giving people 25 to life. One of my worst ones was a guy who wrote 2 bad checks. 2 bad checks. His priors were 15 to 20 years before that. And there was no discretion in giving him 51 years to life. I still hear him crying when they said 51 years to life. So, that being said, what the hell are we going to do about it? All right? Here's what happened. Because the Fed court stepped in and said we got too many people in jail, legislation again said, well, how can we turn this around? So, here's the good news part of the speech, I guess, right? Because I'm going to talk about 8 different areas where we have seen an impact. First, county jail prison, Penal Code 1170H, allowing individuals with low-level felonies, non-violent felonies, to now spend their prison sentences in county jails. Now that pissed off all the counties because they said, we don't want your prisoners, but they had to do it. Federales were in charge. And that helps a little bit. Only because the county jail can now say, well, I know you got a 6-year sentence, but you know what, I'm gonna let you out in 4. Because they're in control now. So a few people were affected, didn't have to go to the pen. But if you talk to anybody who's going to jail for a while, they'll tell you, I'd rather go to the pen because county jail is not really set up to be a pen. All right, Prop 36. We applauded that because what that did was said that third strike had to be serious or violent. What it didn't change is that now it's still mandatory prison and double the base term. So people are still going to prison, it's just you're not going to get 25 to life anymore unless that third felony is serious and violent. And you know we have to applaud that. Prop 47 then popped off. DAs hate Prop 47 and 64 and all of these things because they think we're going to be throwing these hardened criminals on the street. But Prop 47 allowed the reduction to misdemeanors for low-level, nonviolent crimes. Now that was a good thing, but you still got a misdemeanor on your record, don't you? Even when you drop it. All right? So then, okay, what else can we do? Prop 57. Well, Prop 57, I love it. The first thing about Prop 57 meant no more direct files. When Anne Marie was running for DA her first time around, we, meaning Wiley Manning Bar Association, people pressed her and said, wait a minute, all these direct files, you got any white people, direct files? And they didn't. They weren't direct filing their own little white kid. So when Prop 57 came out, I have to applaud and say that was a useful thing because at least it took it out the hands of the DAs. Believe it or not, it was totally the call of the DAs. Now, you got to have what's called a transfer hearing. So at least the juvenile court gets to hear, should this person be treated as a juvenile before going to adult court? Now, here's what's happening, right? You get these crazy little psychologists and everybody to do these studies and things like that, and they're still going to come back and say, oh, that's a badass kid. Or what happens is there's 5 prongs, and that one prong of danger, danger, crime, danger. So the kid's charged with attempted murder or assault or firing a weapon, and they're going to say, oh, that shit's so dangerous, we can't have them in juvenile system. And then they can keep them in the adult system. But it helps because at least you get that transfer hearing. All right, Prop 57. You know what else it did? It allows CDCR to now do a little bit do things differently when it comes to reducing sentences, like not impose the enhancement and only make you serve the base term. Now realize all of this was not keeping you from going to prison. It would let you out a little early. Okay? That's what it really did. And then it allows you to adjust credits. But that's CDCR who does that because we have to tell our people, right, Guy, that CDCR may give you 66%, but this judge is going to give you 80, this judge is going to give you 85, 50, whatever is there that they can do. But it helps. Then Prop 64, decriminalizing marijuana. Yay. Because I remember reading a book, Soul on Ice, Eldridge Cleaver, and I remember a joint sent somebody to prison back in the 60s. I wasn't old enough. I was 10 years old around then, but I couldn't go to prison for the joint. But I thought to myself, oh my God, wow, we finally come to that? Where we're not going to send people to prison for marijuana possession or sales, because now Prop 64 decriminalizes the possession and growth, but we are also going to criminalize, though, if you're doing it with kids, if you're running a household where drugs are sold, and DAs are getting a little bit imaginative, making up facts to try to stick a felony on people, but I can go out here and sell dime bags, some stuff that a guy who went to law school with me went to prison 3 times for, dime bags. Now I can do it and it's only misdemeanors. And I mean, we're talking 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So look at how many people who were in prison, but now we decriminalize, and therefore I think that has decreased people from going to jail, period. I remember Nas' song, right? First line, imagine smoking weed in the streets without cops harassing. And I go, wow, was he a prophet? Because Tupac used to talk a lot of shit too. All right, that's now come true. All right, like America's not ready for a black president. All right, guess it changes his song. All right, but anyway, Prop 1437. Wow. Now we are still battling the constitutionality of this thing, but really it changed accomplice liability in two areas: felony murder and using the natural and probable consequence theory for murder. Now this can get complicated, so I gotta break this down. I and Jennifer go do a robbery. She's sitting outside. I go in, I got a gun. She may not know I have a gun. I'm doing the robbery. I shoot the person, kill him. I come out and say, Jennifer, let's go. Jennifer's gonna go. She's gonna drop me off wherever the hell we wanna go. And then the police get on us and they grab us. And they charge me with felony murder. They're gonna charge us both with murder because her malice is gonna be presumed. I get life without, and guess what she gets? Life without. I have seen this happen over and over again, some terrible situations. That factual situation landed a young 25-year-old boy who ran in to get the marijuana plants after father-in-law blew the head off of uncle who was growing the weed. And he didn't know. He just ran, get in there and get the weed. He ran in there and got the weed. And he's doing life without. So I hope he comes back. But it changes now to force at least some sort of level of malice to be shown by that person who sat in the car that they wanted them to kill, that they had a reckless disregard for human life and they assisted that person more than just being present. So then, natural and probable consequences. Oh, I love this one because I have a client who was involved in a disturbing the peace with another gang unit, so to speak. And during that disturbing the peace yelling, somebody else just happens to come along, have a gun, start shooting at them. Now he was no part of that, but they were part of his gang. So it was natural and probable. You should have known your gang member friends carry guns and that they're gonna elevate that little argument that you're having. And you're held to the consequences of the same person who's the shooter. So now, 1437 hopefully is going to bring a lot of people back, reducing, of course, incarceration, and especially the unfairness of doing life without, because when you didn't even want to kill anybody at all. All right, 1391, once again, watched it happen in operations. I probably had one of the first cases in Sacramento where the DA, I would say, punted. And I'm not afraid to tell them. They punted. This one, I have a 15-year-old. Now it's crazy, and you probably heard this, but there was a young girl who was killed, and then her friend was killed, and then another girl was shot 5 times. All related, everybody's a juvenile. So my guy was 15 years old at the time. Others were 16 and above. 5 of them are charged in this melee of events. So he's charged with murder and attempted murder. He supposedly gives the gun in the last incident for the attempted murder, okay? But he's 15. So we're riding this thing, of course, direct file in adult court. We were into this, what, a year and a half, ready to go to trial as an adult. In fact, I'm pissed because I was pushing it to go to trial, but the 5 defendants, co-defendants, didn't want to go. But here comes 1391, which said you can't transfer now when you're 15 years old to adult court at all. At all. Now that was beautiful. So I run to the DAs and I do a motion to dismiss because I say you no longer have jurisdiction to even hold my guy in adult court. And they punted. We literally went out to juvie court and they said, okay, in this situation, we ain't even gonna fight you. But around California, there are battles going on. Because the DA's,
I know, I'm enjoying it.
Okay, I knew that would happen.
And there'll be questions.
Okay, I'm sure. So let me move on. So that was a beautiful thing. My guy, we went to juvie court. The beautiful part is he's gonna hang till he's 25. He's like, what is he, 20 now. So, you know, things are going to work out good. But it saved him like 79 years of life. Okay, what the hell are we going to do about this? All right? I'm crazy. I'll just tell you that right now. I'm insane. Because I believe people can do things about stuff. First thing, this, rehab, anti-recidivism. It's all got to be based on release from incarceration. We have got to increase our social programs to help, assist, and train people to transition. If you're going to push for anything with legislators, push for that stuff. Number 2, turn our pens into college campuses. Why not? Sing Sing does it. There's some shows on it. Look them up. But the person who's the college graduate will not go back to prison. And why not? They got the time and we got the money because we're spending 60 G's on them to be held anyway. So why not teach them something while they're there? Make it mandatory. Give breaks. Give them cookies, Doritos. You know what I can get for a lot of Doritos downtown? I'll go to class. But that has to be forced upon our systems. We got to get our people to think that way. You know why? Because now we're investing in the future. State and county, city job programs just for felons, just for parolees. The shit that people don't want to do. You want to pick some fruit, you want to clean some parks and stuff like that. Save that for the individuals coming out of jail. They'll work for minimum wage. Strengthen our 1203 laws for expungement. Why do you have to jump through the hoop at all? Why won't legislators just say, you get off probation, parole, expunged? Why not? There's some states won't allow you to expunge anything. So since we are allowed to do it, let's go that step further and just make it happen automatically. Comments on 382, 392. Look, I believe the only way is legislate non-lethal always. Always non-lethal. Because I look at Gardner, I look at, I'll name a million, but when you just pick any of those, I always preach this. Look, my job is save young black men, okay? That's my job. That's what I'm here to do on this earth. So here's what I teach in my Know Your Rights seminars and things like that. Anytime you encounter a police officer, I don't give a shit how, you got one question: am I free to leave? That's it. It invokes your 4th Amendment of the Constitution. And I don't care how it comes out. I don't care what they say to you. Shut the fuck up and say, am I free to leave? If they say yes, walk the hell on. If they don't, you do this. Well, then let's go, because I'm going to talk to my lawyer. That's all you do. You know what it forces them to do? They got to huddle up now. They got to find probable cause to detain you, to arrest you. They got to find it. And when you ask for a lawyer, I always tell people, I'm not going to come fluttering in and shit like Tinkerbell. That ain't going to happen. But I'll see that you did that, and I will be able to check them on that. And I have won cases when you shut the hell up. It is the magical fruit. Preach it everywhere. Tell people, I'll tell them about it. Get online and see my videos about it. Because it's true. It saves lives. Any of these people were shot if they just did that. But it requires education. It requires knowledge. It requires guts. So we have to teach everybody, because it applies to everybody. Cops come up to you. Am I free to leave? They say no. Tell them you're ready for the ride and what's taking them so damn long. Because they'll huddle up. They better find probable cause, or else they'll do that, well, don't do it again. That kind of shit. That's what I have to tell you. Be diligent in your work. I am so thankful people like you exist out here on these streets, because it is hard to legislate on the streets. And that's what I tell people, is you're not going to win your case out on the street. Bring it back to me and let me do my shit. So thank you all for listening to me. Hear me rave, hear me rant.
Let's do 3 minutes for questions. And then we can...
I know.
Any questions for Keith?
Yes,
Bob.
So essentially, with restorative justice, it's incredible because that's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of the punitive draconian system we have now. how are they still gonna make money? Because to them, all they ever care about, if we could figure out how they can make money with restorative justice, we win overnight. It's almost true of everything. It's just they bleed us dry, and like it's like the cop killings. We always have to pay for it, and even if the cop goes to jail, we end up paying. It should come out of their budget, their police precinct. And you know what? If they have to close their police precinct, then so be it. The other thing is about rights, you know, and God bless you for teaching Know Your Rights, and we do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because people out there are so clueless. They don't think they have rights. They think whatever rights they have is what the police tell them. And the police don't know anything. We've even done it with Occupy in every movement we've been part of. And I challenge them on the Constitution and everything. Like, look at me, it looks like their head's gonna explode. You know?
Two things, two answers.
Yeah.
First one, profitability. How restorative
Right.
justice, we gotta make corporations, these things profitable
Right.
so that people can make some money.
Mhm.
The second thing about knowing your rights, man, you're right. The people are kind of dumb. But I'm gonna tell you something, the cops aren't stupid.
Right.
They know what they're doing. And when you exercise your rights, they get a little frustrated, but they gotta do what they gotta do. And I think it puts you ahead of the game, and it's really just education, and it's trying it. A lot of people, I mean, how many people do we run across go, what's the first thing you do when you run into a cop? How come you pulled me over? How come you're encountering me? Why are you encountering me? Is it because I'm black? What's this? What's that? Why are you talking? I always say this is the best time to go into your quiet place. Just hold your arms like this and go, am I free to go? Oh, they got a gun on you though. Am I free to go? I didn't ask you, did you have a gun on me and why? Am I free to go? It's power. And then when they say no, let's go. Do your job. You know, it'll change, but like anything, we got to inch to this
Sure.
until we can take a yard and then a mile.
Do
Yes,
one
ma'am.
more.
I'm in the
Do two
same
more.
place
Yeah,
that
possible.
Bob is as far as money, and I'd say the money problem is CCPOA.
Yeah.
So what I always used to tell people is my union represented the teachers. Instead of being a prison guard and making that union powerful, join my union and be a teacher in a prison, you make more.
Yes.
And one of my friends taught computers, not one of his people ever offended again, ever. So we've got to break the power of CCPOA, which is a gang.
Yes.
And have people instead be counselors, nurses. If you're gonna work in prison, be a counselor, be a nurse, be a teacher.
Yes.
Not in CCPOA.
Turn them into college campuses.
Yeah, we had Eric had a hand actually.
In the Prop 1437 cases,
Yes.
you mentioned the one where the DA punted for you, but you mentioned that other cases, I assume in other counties, they're dragging them out. Can you elaborate more on what those
Oh,
DAs are doing?
they're claiming that the laws for 1437 and 1391 are unconstitutional for some reason. That, you know, this is unconstitutional. I mean, we can go, all you gotta do is Google what's happening out there. I think they're gonna lose in the end, you know, because these were validly passed laws, and I think they're gonna pass scrutiny with the courts, and that's all. The court just gotta go, is this something fair? Does this violate due process? And it clearly doesn't. It's that the DAs are pissed about it, that's all, because it takes power out of their hands and out of law enforcement's hands. So we're gonna win those battles in the end. The problem is, look at all these people who are sitting in state prison who's gotta get back here, get resentenced, maybe even retried.
And we're working on that, and the panel's working on that.
Yeah.
And this, some of them, the DA has actually, I mean, they've started. I was in 61 on Friday where some prisoners who'd been in there for murder for life got let out.
Yeah.
Because even the DA knows there's the case of like the prostitute and the pimp kills the John and the prostitute doesn't even know and she's in for life.
Yeah.
And so there are, even the DA knows that politically it's good for them to agree to let some people out. So there's
Right.
people who've already gotten out, there's people who, and all these cases are coming back. Our office is
Yeah.
evaluating them. They're trying to figure out who was the attorney. So
Yeah.
Keith's cases are going back to him, but you probably getting cases for retired attorneys.
Exactly.
Attorneys have moved on, so it's a huge process. Some of them we're going to end up litigating them.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to in the future. It really is. I mean, just watching the sadness that happens when someone gets convicted under natural and probable consequence doctrine or felony murder rule, and you know they didn't pull the trigger, they actually didn't even know someone was going to be killed, that's a very sad moment. It really is. And we have to reverse that. We really do. I mean, you kill somebody, we got rules for you, right? We got places for you when you do it. So our problem is, why are you trying to, and I hate this, I like it because why are you catching dolphins in the net when you're fishing for tuna? Why? Why do you tolerate it? Is the bigger thing.
A last question from
Yes.
Greg, so we gotta move on.
So, I've been rabble rousing since I was a kid, so we're going back some decades. The discussion has always been there about recidivism, trying to come against the recidivism, the rehabilitation, blah, blah, and that long, it's been blah, blah for that long. You say we need to change the thinking about rehabilitation in the prison system. How do you do that?
Yeah. And a lot of it is what she's saying. I think it is that lobbying of the teachers union. It's turning our mindset to think that these are valuable human beings. We just need to educate them. We're spending the money on them anyway.
The teachers know that. It's the DAs
True.
and the prison wardens and the cops on the street.
True.
the
Department of
prosecuting
Corrections.
attorneys. Yeah.
They're all appointed, right? These are individuals who run it, are appointed on boards. Maybe we need to get people in those positions.
They're just CCPOA people who got promoted, and they
Yeah.
still think like that.
Right.
That's fixable.
Yeah,
You got media.
it could be through politics,
And
but it's a
media.
mindset too, and media, yes. It's just like what he was saying, about changing in different areas, and attacking in different, areas in terms of movements. Everybody on the ground, it's got to come up from the ground. I mean, Three Strikes, when Three Strikes first came out, there was the Mothers Against Three Strikes. I mean, there were groups that said, hey, this is bullshit, and it was. It just took a little while to change and get the mindset. But even judges were going, God damn it, I got to give you 25 years of life? But I can't do shit about it. So here you go.
I just drove Mad Men.
Yeah. All right, I know I got to get off.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you. Got some of these in the back if you want to see this kind of stuff I talk about.